Hey scholars, this is a video to explain our exam review for HCOM 235, Essentials of Argumentation. As you know, your midterm exam is coming up. The revised course schedule shows that the exam is due this Sunday, October 10th. So go ahead and make sure you're looking at the exam guide. It'll say Examination 1 Guide. It's on the same module as you found this video, the link for this video. So I'll be kind of jumping around all over the place. So the exam is going to be available Sunday morning on 10/10, and then I'm giving you an extra day. So even though it doesn't say this on the revised course schedule, make sure you're just listening to me now, and I'm not lying to you, right? So I made a modification to how I did this for a few reasons. One is that a lot of students in an online class like this, online asynchronous class, when things are due, when there's a deadline of Sunday night, usually most of my students are submitting their work just before the deadline on Sunday. So anywhere from like Sunday morning till Sunday at 11:58 p.m. or late for that matter. But because it's an exam, it's a little more, it's different than a typical type of assignment that we have in this class because there are no extensions. There's no late work. For the other assignments, as you've noticed, there's a deadline of Sunday at 11:59 p.m., but then I've extended the late deadline till Wednesday night. That's not going to be the case for the exam. So basically, you have to take it if you want to take it. If you're planning to take the exam and you want to have a score, then it has to be taken no later than Monday night. So basically, you can take the exam anytime Sunday morning. I'll probably make it available early in the morning, and then you'll just choose the time to take it. Doesn't matter to me when you take it, but the deadline is Monday at 11:59 p.m. You have 90 minutes to take it. Typically, in a course like this, it's a 75-minute course, so I give you 75 minutes. But it's online. It's a little bit different. It might be unfamiliar to some of you. Some of you have taken a lot of campus exams, so this won't be new to you. But nevertheless, I'm giving you 90 minutes, which is more than enough time to take this exam. Most students would finish this exam in probably 30 to 45 minutes, but everyone is a different exam taker. When I took exams in college, all throughout college, grad school, all my courses, I took a really long time. I was always like the last person in the classroom. That's just how I took exams. So you'll have to begin, if you want your full 90-minute window, you have to begin no later than 10:30 p.m. on Monday, the 11th. Because basically, once it's 11:59 p.m. or once it hits midnight, I'm not exactly sure how it works, but basically, wherever you're at, like if you didn't start taking the exam till like 11:45 p.m., basically right at midnight, I think, as far as I know, it'll kick you off, and then whatever you've taken so far, that will be recorded, and then of course you wouldn't be able to take the rest. So make sure you take it on time. So I want to talk about the nature of academic integrity and how you'll prepare for the exam. You're taking the exam at home on your own. It's an open book, open note, open internet exam. The only thing you can't do is cheat. So this exam is not to be taken with the assistance of any other person. No one else can help you with taking this exam. It has to be you and you alone, and of course all the material that you prepared for. If there was any suspicion of academic dishonesty or cheating or plagiarism, if there was any suspicion of that, I would look into that, and then I would take the proper courses of action. In which case, some courses of action that would take place with academic dishonesty would be either an automatic F or a 0 for the exam, potentially an F for the course, and then there's a variety of other types of sanctions that you could have or that you could suffer from if you're found guilty of engaging in academic dishonesty. So please don't cheat and please be honest. I provided plenty of information for you to know about with regards to Cal State Fullerton's University Policy Statement 300.021, UPS 300.021. That information is on our syllabus, it's on our Canvas page, and I've included that in this document as well. So make sure you're familiar with that. I'm not trying to scare you, but I really want you to be familiar with the nature of academic integrity, as it's something that's very important for Cal State Fullerton as well as it is for most colleges. I myself have dealt with this on a handful of times where I've caught a student engaging in some form of academic dishonesty, or at least I suspected them of it, and I created a report. I sent it off to an academic integrity committee, and then they're the ones who make the determination about exactly what will happen to that student. And I'm not trying to scare you, but I definitely would say that's not a place that you want to be. It could have very long-lasting, severe consequences that look really bad on your academic record. So, on that note, be honest. You can just take it by yourself. The 90-minute time limit begins counting down once you click Start Attempt. So don't click the Start Attempt button until you're ready to take the exam. And what do I mean by ready? Make sure you've done all your studying. You have organized notes, your textbook, your battery charger for your laptop. Make sure you're using a reliable computer with a stable internet connection and in a location that will be an ideal distraction for your learning environment. Take it from either a laptop or a desktop computer. You're strongly advised not to take the exam from a mobile device like a mobile phone or a tablet. I've had a few students who've taken an exam like this from a tablet or mobile phone, and they got kicked out, and then they didn't have an opportunity to finish the exam, and as a result, they had a very low score. So I highly recommend use a laptop or desktop. Be smart about this, about how you're setting up the time, the location, the setting, all those things. Because once you click Start Attempt, time's going, and there's no do-overs basically. So that's that. I have the information here on which sections you should study from the chapter. So I just basically label them section by section. I try to make this as intuitive as possible. If you have questions on the nature of this exam review guide, feel free to contact me to ask me questions. And I mentioned you won't be tested on box 1-1. You won't be tested on box 2-1, 2-2. Basically, I don't generate test questions directly from the boxes or the figures or the comics, but I highly recommend that you review everything. I highly recommend that you review every single chapter that's going to be on the exam, 1, 2, 3, 5, and 4. I'm going in that order because that's the order in which they were covered in the course schedule. So I highly recommend reviewing everything. If you've done all the reading and you've been taking notes on the book, on the chapters, you've been taking notes on the PowerPoint presentations, the lectures, the lecture videos, you've been taking notes on all that stuff, the studying is going to be very, very easy for you. And the less of that you've done, then the more studying you'll have to do, depending on what kind of grade, what kind of grade you're wanting to get on the exam. So I list all the different sections. So like I said, I would say first step, review everything, and then go back and focus in on the sections that are listed on on each chapter. So I give you just the section name. So basically, when the section name that's on there, you'll want to study all that stuff in that one section until the next section begins. So I say that because there's some of the sections are like main sections and then subsections and maybe subsections. So whatever section you see, whatever section title you see, that's like the stuff that you want to study in detail. The way I recommend studying would be creating an outline, just a detailed outline. You don't necessarily have to outline the book. You're not creating a summary of the book, but you're creating an understanding. So I'm just looking here down at chapter 4 where it says ignorance versus stupidity. No duh, right? So under that section, if I'm the student and I'm outlining that section, I would type in Roman numeral whatever, right? Ignorance versus stupidity, no duh. And then within that, using A, B, C, D, little 1 or 1, 2, 3, 4, little a, little b. However I outline, basically I'm outlining my understanding of that section. What are they talking about? What does it mean? If someone were to ask me the question like, hey, what does this mean? I should be able to explain that to them. I don't have to memorize everything. It's open book, open note, open internet. So I recommend that you're highly, highly prepared. Have put highlighters all through, or highlight different sections throughout your textbook. You might have little post-it notes where you're putting post-it notes for all the different sections. Because what you don't want to do is in the process of taking the exam, you don't want to think oh, I'll just look it up once I take the exam because I have an hour and a half. You could do that in theory, but that can really systematically increase test taker fatigue, where you're going back and forth and looking at page numbers and then getting lost. Where is that? Oh, that took longer than I thought, and I'm running out of time. I highly, you don't want to be in that situation because that also creates a lot of unnecessary stress. So figure out how to prepare your notes in your book in the way that's going to be in the way that's going to work best for you. I think that's it. So that is the exam one info that you need to know for HCOM 235, Essentials of Argumentation for Fall 2021. If you've never taken an exam before on Canvas, it's pretty easy. It's very user friendly. It's intuitive. The way that I set it up is such that you can see all the questions at once. Sometimes the way that some instructors set up exams on Canvas is you can only take one question at a time, and you have to answer question 1 before you advance to question 2. You have to answer question 2 before you advance to question 3, and so on and so forth. And I don't do it that way for a variety of reasons. So nevertheless, as far as I know, I haven't taken an exam on Canvas before, but I see how it looks on my end, and I see how it looks from from the student view. As far as I know, like for the way it looks for you, is you can see all the questions at once. You can kind of like scroll through the questions. So I say that because you don't have to answer the questions in order. You don't have to start with one and end with the last one. There'll be about, by the way, there'll be roughly around 40 to 50 items, multiple choice, true, false, etc. So if you're on one, like you answer 1, good. You answer 2, good. You answer 3, good. You get to 4, and you're like, you're kind of stumped. Well, you can always skip 4. Just make sure you go back. Make sure you're checking your answers because sometimes things get visually confusing when you're taking an exam online. So I say all those things just to ensure that you're getting everything that you pay for, so to speak. In other words, like if you know the material and you've studied it and you understand it, make sure you're clicking the right boxes and you're doing the right thing so you don't make a minor mistake, like a user error, which a user error for taking an online exam means you get the question incorrect, and then you lose points, right? So all that to say, do well, study well, and I hope you're all doing well. I'll talk to you later.